Primetime Monday continues. Once again, John Quinones.
Music is the lifeblood of Miami. It pulses through these streets. A few years ago, a young singer named Soraya was topping the Latin charts and touring with superstars like Sting and Alanis Morissette when she suddenly disappeared from the scene. Well, now Soraya is back with a new song and a mission.
Soraya. In Arabic, it means beauty or star. Both are fitting for this 34-year-old musician of Colombian-Lebanese descent. Soraya is one of Latin music's most promising talents. Born in New Jersey and raised in Colombia, her music reflects a life spent between two countries, two languages, and two cultures.
I am actually happily in between the two countries. I feel very Colombian and very North American, but a lot of my values, the sense of family, the sense of identity, all of that comes from Colombia.
The success of her debut album in 1996 earned her invitations to perform alongside some of the biggest names in rock and roll.
She opened up for Sting, she opened up for Alanis Morissette. She could sing in English and Spanish, so she could sit on a stage with this kind of a crowd, which is an international crowd, and sing in their language, which is really important.
She had 3 hits in 3 years, and with that, the beginnings of fame and fortune. But then, during a routine self-exam, Soraya discovers a lump under her arm.
Tell me about that day, June 5th, the year 2000. What did the doctor say?
After doing a couple of biopsies right there, we did a couple of tests. He asked me some questions, and I found out that I had stage 3 breast cancer.
What goes through your mind?
A lot of things. I mean, fear, obviously, that was the first thing. Shock. I was 31 years old at the time, so I was just in a state of absolute, my life had just been turned upside down.
It wasn't the first time her life had been turned upside down. Breast cancer has had a devastating impact on Soraya's family. Her grandmother, aunt, and her mother all died from the disease.
My mother, when she was going through treatment, taught me all these wonderful lessons in life that really helped me, especially at that moment in time.
And the most important lesson?
To ask yourself the question, what defines who you are? Because if you are defined by being the wife of, or by your career, or if you're defined by your physical appearance, by what you have, all those things change. You have to look inwards to find out what you're really made of.
The next few months would test Soraya's emotional and physical resolve. Her treatment program was so aggressive, so debilitating, she was often too weak to leave the house.
I'm in tune. My musicians would come over and we'd have jam sessions in my living room. We would just jam. We would sit around and play, and it reminded me of the things that I love in life. So that's what keeps you focused and what keeps you going. It was a fundamental part of my treatment.
I remember her laying on her couch in the studio with a guitar on top of her like this, you know, and playing. And we wrote a song, and she was like, play that chord again. And she was so weak. And she was just laying down and the thing playing actually pretty good, you know, I mean, for somebody who just had some poison shot through her. Cancer doesn't discriminate.
Just 4 months after her cancer diagnosis, Soraya reemerges unexpectedly on the public stage.
So thank you for being with us.
She immediately became involved in Race for the Cure,
Go!
one of the country's largest sources of private funding for breast cancer research.
But you were still very sick.
I was in the middle of treatment, but I knew that it was something that I could help with. You are no less of a woman when you are going through this treatment. And if I were to have shied away from cameras, I'd be buying into that theory.
Soraya makes a decision to use her celebrity to help build breast cancer awareness in the Latino community, where it remains the leading cause of cancer death among women.
Oftentimes the diagnoses are so advanced that the survival rate is lower. Not because there's anything genetically different about Latina women, it's just the diagnosis is later on. Women don't want to know about it, they'd rather ignore it because all they've known are really sad endings.
10 months ago, she returned to the recording studio for the first time in more than 2 years.
All for you, it's all for this moment. I hold on to every second like a lifetime stolen.
The result, her 4th CD, a collection of the most personal songs she's ever written, self-titled Soraya.
I try to write things as I feel them. There's a song called Casi, which means almost. And Casi is what I call it's my fighting song. I wanted it aggressive. I wanted the guitar strumming. I wanted all that energy to come up.
So it's very rare that an artist gets a second chance musically speaking. And in this case, it's a very beautiful thing because she got a second musical chance and she also got a second chance at life.
I didn't want to make a record that was a breast cancer survivor record. I wanted to make a record written, and I produced it as well, by a strong woman who's lived hard at times, but a woman who's a fighter.
Legendary